Record on this computer. Done. I hope everyone doesn't mind being recorded. Hey, excellent.
We're used to it now.
That's true. That's true. All right, welcome, everybody. Let's get straight to it. So the first question, of course, is what is Pathways, right? That's the first step, right? And Pathways is the educational program. It is actually a series of projects to get you to learn your communication and leadership skills. Pretty brief, right? But let's expand on that more. So Pathways actually has 10, 11, 12 paths, I think now. So it's got a bunch of different paths, and you're only on one at a time unless you're an advanced member. And this is where people start to get a little bit confused. They say, 10 paths or 12 paths or whatever it is. There's so much going on. Like, no, you're on one. You're on one. And this is where I think we can simplify it, is what does one path look like? So let me know when you can see my screen. So you can see this. This is the Pathways tracking sheets. I sent this out as a handout. And what is really great about this is it kind of explains it. And I know there's a lot of boxes here, but let's break this down. So each path has 5 levels, 1 through 5. You start on 1, you finish with 5. All right, so far so good. Every level has a couple projects. And let's take a look at this. So level 1, it looks like it's got a lot, but really it's got the 3. Icebreaker, evaluation and feedback, and then researching and presenting. It's got 3. But let's look at level 2. It's got 3. Understanding your leadership style, understanding your communication style, introduction to Toastmasters mentoring. All right, let's look at level 3. It's actually also just 3 projects. Are you seeing a theme here? Level 1 has 3 projects. Level 2 has 3 projects. Level 3 has 3 projects. The fun thing about level 3 is that you have 1 required and 2 electives. And so I am showing the projects from this specific path, but they are all structured the same. They just have different individual projects, but it is still level 1 has 3 projects, level 2 has 3 projects, and so on. So the nice thing about level 3, you do the required one, and then you get to pick 2 of these. The nice thing about level 4, you have to do this one, and then you got to choose actually just 1. So level 4 only has 2, and then level 5 is back to 3. And that's it. When you explain it like that, 5 levels, almost all of them having 3 projects, it seems a lot more simple, right? It's a lot more just kind of straightforward. That is all of your path. All of your path is laid out right here. And what I would recommend for everybody is in this document I sent out, I've got your path. It's here. Whether you're in effective coaching, engaging humor, it is all here. And this is your path in its entirety. I would recommend printing this out, and you can write in the dates, write in the speech titles, something like that. Help you keep a log of what you're doing. And that's important if you're helping someone else out too. You print this out, you go through, this is your whole project. All of a sudden, this whole pathway seems like a spider web or a maze almost, right? All of a sudden, this maze of possibilities becomes kind of, I don't want to say one possibility, but it's much more linear and easier to follow. So I hope that explains what is Pathways in a way. In just a brief, here's the structure, here's what one entire path looks like. And the nice thing is when you switch paths, you can go to a different path. There's going to be some similar projects, some different. Now, for those of you helping multiple people, I want to tell you this. Level 1 of Pathways is the exact same 3 projects for everybody. All paths have the same level 1. It is exactly the same. Level 2 has a whole lot of overlap. I want to say across all the level 2s, out of all the paths, 10 or 12 paths, there's only like 7 different projects, like total. So each one picks 3 of those 7. And so there's not that much variation between level 2s. And then level 3, it goes hog wild, and you are on your special path learning what you want to learn. So, pathways, what is it? The structure of it, it is much more simple than it looks. There's a lot of options. Don't get bogged down by the options. Print this out and follow it. Whew. Any questions on the structure? Makes a little more sense, I hope. It's not this nebulous sea of possibilities. It kind of is, but once you pick your path, it's a little bit linear with the little tidbits that you can choose along the way. All right, let's talk about accessing pathways. Also important. How to access pathways. Can you see my screen? I see some nods. Good, good. All right, toastmasters.org. Hopefully you can find your way here. If you can't, toastmasters.org. Type that in and get there. You got the pathways button. It's going to come down and you can say, well, if it's your first time, you can go to start page or choose a path, and we'll go through with that because I actually could choose a path right now. You're going to need to log in. If you're a newer member, hopefully you've received your login information. If you haven't, contact your club officers. Log in. My password has been exposed somewhere on the internet. Welcome to 2020. All right, so this is what you're going to see. Not everybody sees this login as Basecamp manager. I am a Basecamp manager for my club, so I've got that option. But if it's your first time, right here, continue to path selection. Now, Pathways, the basic program, is 100% online. They do have an option to get some printed materials, but don't do it. Trust me, don't do it. Stick with the online, and one of my future tips is how to pretty much print out all of Pathways. So if I select digital resources, now you have the option. You say, which path, which of the 12 paths is right for me? You can take a test and it'll tell you. The nice thing is, after the test, if you disagree with the test, you can say, nuts to you, I'm doing my own thing. Or from day one, you can say, I'm doing my own thing. And I would recommend going back to my handout that shows all the different paths. Flip through them. Which one fits your skills? Which one fits your goals? And probably decide earlier which one you like. So I'm going to choose that, view path options. And right away, here's all the paths I could choose. So it does look like there's 10. I could have sworn they were adding some. Nonetheless, oh, there is 11 because it's not showing the one I already have. I already have a path. This is my second one. And I can choose presentation mastery. And this is a good tip. If you don't know what you want to do, if you just want to get better at public speaking, if you are helping out an old timer who is dragging their feet into Pathways, or if you yourself are dragging your feet and you want the good old program, choose presentation mastery. It is very close, and we'll cover that a little later. So I'm going to select presentation mastery and hit continue. And they're confirming it, because once you confirm it and you start digging in, you can't go back. Not that it's that big a deal, but they're serious. Hit continue. Ta-da! Look at that. Even personalized. Toastmaster Atkinson. I'm flattered. Mr. Atkinson is my father. Okay. Then we'll go to Basecamp. And this is Basecamp. So if you already have a path, after you go to toastmasters.org, there's an option under Pathways that says go to Basecamp, log in. This is where it takes you. This is Basecamp. It's home base. That's why they called it that. I would strongly recommend that this is the real button you want 99% of the time, is paths and learning, education transcript. It's such a weird vocabulary like thing. It's just, where's the stuff? Where's the goods? It's under paths and learning. That's where the good stuff is, paths and learning. And then again, you have to click here, open curriculum. Clunky, I know. Pathways gets a bad rap for its clunkiness, and it is well-deserved for its clunkiness. But once you do it a couple times, you get the hang of it. So open curriculum. All right, so this is my dynamic leadership, but this shows it. So we talked about the structure of pathways. It's got 5 levels. Look at this on the side here, 5 levels. And you can click through every level you want, all of them, right now. But let's stick with level 1. Level 1 pathways. Everyone's is going to look the same, right? All 11 paths are the same. So you're going to have an icebreaker, evaluation and feedback, researching, and presenting. Finally, how to find the meat and potatoes of pathways. This is going to be activate first, but right now it's launch. It says launch because I've already activated. So first time is activate, second time and thereon after is launch. So you hit launch and it launches. Look at that. Loading. So pathways is essentially a slideshow, and this is how it's going to start up. It's going to show you how to navigate, and that is fine. Actually, it's going to show you this. It's going to show you this first of all, and this is one place that I've had people get stuck because there doesn't seem to be any buttons here, and begin is the button, and I think that is a real flaw because every other page has this, including the how to navigate page. It says use the arrows. Well, what the heck were you supposed to do here? A complaint, I know, but it's important to tell people begin is a button. Whew. So that's how to access pathways. That's how to log in, go to that project, and then you start flipping through the content, reading stuff. There's a lot of good stuff here. It's got a lot of hints and directions, and this is going to lead me into the next section. But first, any questions on how to access pathways?
Can you go back through how you got to that page?
This page right here.
Yeah,
yes.
Your assignment.
Yes, of course. All right. I'm going to close out of that. Let's go back home. Let's go way back. All right. Here we are, toastmasters.org. Go to Basecamp. I'm already logged in, so it skipped the login screen, but the login screen would jump up there. All right, so you're going to see this, and you're going to want go to Basecamp if you've already picked your path. And now you're here. Basecamp. A bunch of vocabulary that is confusing, but you want paths and learning. That's the good stuff. And now you're here and you want open curriculum of the one you want. So most people are going to have one path here. I've got 2. I've got presentation mastery and dynamic leadership. It's not because I'm special. I'm just a glutton for punishment and in multiple clubs. So open curriculum. All right, now that you've opened curriculum, this is really what I think it should be. You should mentally think is your home base for pathways because it shows all the levels. It shows how to get to the content. And how to get to that content is right here. So for the icebreaker project, it's this button right here, which is going to say activate the first time and launch every time after that. Once it's activated, it'll say launch. So you hit launch and it pops up. And this is important to note. If you're following along at home, you may have a pop-up blocker that ruins this whole process. Chances are it'll tell you near the top of the screen, proudly, it'll declare, I have blocked a pop-up, and you say, no, please don't block that. I needed that. That was intentional. So that is how you get to here. That is how you get to here. And it'll look just like this. Your first time in it, it'll say icebreaker, level 1 project, and you click begin. Does that answer your question?
So if I've already done that, I probably saw this like months ago and just don't remember.
Possibly.
Because I've already done my icebreaker.
Yes. So,
okay. So that's why I'm not seeing it. Okay.
It should still be here. Your icebreaker should still show up under level 1.
It does.
It does. Okay. And then you would click on evaluation and feedback. Okay. For the next one, you'd hit activate and launch. Okay. Any other questions with just how to access pathways? All right. So I'm going to take it back. Take it back to People dragging their feet, true procrastinators. They have not joined because it's not like the legacy program. So how do you make it like the legacy program? Well, just like my first tip of 2 key tips of making it like the legacy program is to do the path presentation mastery. Do presentation mastery. And actually, I'm going to switch screens here real quick because share screen, go back to this. Because I know I've got some experienced Toastmasters in here. And let me go find presentation mastery. There it is. Okay. Can you all see presentation mastery? All right. So first 3, level 1 is all the same. We all know that by now. Level 2 talks about mentoring, body language, and understanding your communication style. So the only new one there is really communication style. That project is new to Pathways. But look at level 3. You have to learn about persuasive speaking and then pick some of these. Pick 2 of these. Maybe you're going to pick active listening, storytelling, connecting with your audience, effective visual aids. Who here from the legacy program, does that sound familiar? Does these projects sound, it does though, doesn't it, right? I see you smiling because this is one of those tips. They're like, man, I just want to keep going with the legacy program. Well, this is kind of it, right? Managing a difficult audience, public relations strategies, right? Q&A sessions, preparing to speak professionally, high performance leadership. That's it. These projects they have not changed since Pathways, the actual individual projects. They've added new ones, but they've also got a lot of the old ones. And a lot of the old ones are under presentation mastery. So that is tip number 1 of making it like the legacy program. I'm going to jump back over to the Pathways screen online. Okay. Can you see that? Has that popped up? Excellent. Sometimes there's a long delay, but this is working great. All right, let's open presentation mastery. Let's go to level 1 and let's activate. Boom, launch. Load, load, load. All right, so if you're like me, reading things on the screen is not the same as reading them in paper. Working off of a computer is not the same as working out of a booklet. And this is where tip number 2 comes in. All right, so you get to this stage. You're gonna have to get to this stage, but you get to this stage and right here, move to another section, this little box, click that. That's the quick navigate. You want to go to your evaluation. Every time go to your evaluation and click print my project. Ooh, look at that. It popped right up. It gave you a PDF. What's great about PDFs is you can print them. You can print them super easily. They're built to be printed. And just like that, I have a very printable, easy to follow document for how to do Pathways. This is one of those things where you can help, if you have members who are maybe a little more computer illiterate, you can help them. You can log in for them, get into their Pathways, and print their project for them. Or if you've got a savvy VPE, you can start downloading Print My Projects for all the projects you have access to. You can start grabbing them early, and then you just hand them out to the people who need them. So there's some options here, but let's look at Print My Project a little more. It talks about your goals, right? This is the icebreaker Print My Project. It talks about how to organize a speech, which is important. It just talks about the basics, preparing and presenting, writing it out, using an outline, connecting with the audience, techniques for practice. This was the book. This was the CC manual. It was stuff just like this, wasn't it? But it goes on even further. Because some of the stuff I really love about Print My Project is right here. Project checklist. You got a new member. You say Print My Project and follow the project checklist in there. So there's schedule your speech. There's write it. There's rehearse it. And then there's completing all the other parts, which is things like doing self-evaluations to see your growth. The other part about Print My Project that's great, and I love this when we were in person, is it includes the evaluation forms for your speech. They are part of this single document. The single PDF includes the evaluation forms. So if you hit print and then you went to that meeting in person, you already had your evaluation forms printed out ahead of time, which is, after all, one of the trouble parts about Pathways is we used to have the evaluation forms pre-printed in the book. Well, this is the next best thing, I think. So they're already here. So here's the evaluation forms, and you can cut them out of the PDF and send them to them, or send them the whole thing. Another great part for newbies in Print My Project, speech outline worksheet. And a lot of the projects have this. Here's some general ideas of how to think of this project and how to work on it. How to do an opening, greeting, capturing audience, introduce yourself. There's a lot of stuff here. I shouldn't go through all of it, but I hope you understand that Print My Project is Pathways gold. Please, please, please share that with your members. Print My Project. So again, how do we print our project? You launch the path through here, right? You launch it. Then you always go to this box at the bottom. And no matter what project, 100% of the projects click your evaluation. They all have it. They all have your evaluation. They all have some different parts up here, but your evaluation will always, always, always be there. And right there will always be Print My Project. And I love it. I cannot recommend it enough. Whew. Any other questions about how to make it feel like the legacy program? Does that, what do you guys think? Does that feel like the legacy program for those that know it? Is that kind of halfway there for you? It's a little bit Pathways, it's a little bit legacy.
And I wish I would have started on that path. That would have felt a lot more familiar and helpful.
Yeah, if you haven't, I have gotten a refund for somebody who has not clicked much in Pathways. If you've already selected it but haven't completed any of the projects or activated anything, if you've done nothing in Pathways, sometimes you can get a refund and they'll put you back on it. Nonetheless, I think going through the first 2 levels and using Print My Project, you'll get very comfortable with Pathways. You'll get very comfortable, and then you'll be a pro by level 3. Any other questions, comments about making it like the legacy program?
You're pretty optimistic about being a pro.
I trust me. It becomes second nature. Use it enough, just like any technology.
This is very helpful. Thank you.
Good, good.
And I'll vouch for what David said. It does get easier because anytime you get in there and do the things like David has showed, I know for myself, I just get more and more familiar with it, and it gets more comfortable. I like new and different things, so I'm okay with it not being just like a legacy program. I think it takes some aspects of the legacy program and makes it better in how it's arranged. It's new and different and weird and awkward at first, but I love your tip about printing out your project, because that's what I started doing, because I need to have that thing in my hand to read, and it's wonderful. It really has helped me, and I appreciate you passing that on to the rest of us.
If you only remember one thing from tonight, it better be Print My Project. If somebody says Pathways, your brain should start getting hardwired for you to just blurt out Pathways, Print My Project. That's the level of importance I think Print My Project is. All right, so Pathways isn't perfect, and it's got a lot of potential, and it's really unfortunate that it is hidden by a really bad user interface. Like, they made this user interface, they intended it to do anything and everything, and as of being a jack of all trades, you're a master of none, and that sure is what it feels like. So Pathways isn't perfect. Here's some of the last remaining speed bumps. One of the things I've gotten is well, I did these projects, I did the icebreaker, I did the evaluation feedback, I did the researching and presenting, but they won't award me level 1. Why not? And that's because you have to, number 1, you have to complete the projects in Pathways, and that's a little weird. And then number 2, you have to complete the level. So let's talk about completing a project. So how to complete the icebreaker. I'm gonna launch it. Let's get in there. And you have to complete all the slides. And when I say complete all the slides, I usually just tell people keep clicking to the right. You keep clicking to the right. You do a skills assessment. I'm gonna rate myself very well. I'm pretty full of it, if you couldn't tell. You gotta rate yourself, you hit submit, it gives you your feedback. I did not rate myself before because I'm trying to skip through, but rating yourself before and after would be a very good idea. And you keep clicking right and boom, congratulations. You have not technically completed the project until you see the screen. And it is the same screen for every project. And that is one of the harder parts to get to members, is you have to see this before you've officially completed it. You could do the speech, you could add the evaluation, you could have gone all the way and gotten the t-shirt, but it does not matter until you see this screen. And it's really unfortunate, but you will know you have completed that project when you've got that sweet, sweet check mark right there. And it says completed. So you can see my other ones don't have completed, but I just completed the icebreaker. Now between you and me, I have not completed the icebreaker for this, but that was for demonstration. I will complete it. So as you complete the levels, once you have the check mark on all 3 levels, then this one, you can activate it. But only then. You have to complete. You have to have all 3 check marks to have this available to you. And that's part of the secret. People say, how do this is level 1 completion. Yeah, I want that. I've done that. You have to get the check marks, which means you have to go in and go through all the slides all the way to the right. And then one of the weird things about this, and this is how to complete a level, is this is going to say activate, and it's going to pop up a screen of what to do next. Read it if you want. Otherwise, close it out and come back, and then it'll say complete. Click that again. So it'll say activate first, you click that, you come back, it'll say complete, click that again, and then your VPE and your president will be notified by email that you think you've completed level 1. So that's the other kind of technical thing that I've had trouble with members, and it's because I should just be able to hit complete right now, right? But they do not let you. All right, the last thing that's the trouble with Pathways is people ask, all right, so, they wanted me to evaluate that project. Let's go into the evaluation feedback because this is a good one. People ask me, David, what the heck am I actually supposed to do? There's like 20 slides here. Each one says words and stuff, but when do I actually do something, and what is that something I do other than read, right? This is like, what is this project? Well, as you familiarize yourself with Pathways, number 1, I strongly recommend print my project, and this is very topical. This is new. Pathways actually pops up print my project much earlier because they know that's the good stuff. But I want to help you out with levels 1 and 2. So let me share another screen. And this is the other handout I gave you. So does this look familiar? Okay. So it's got all the stuff we've gone through. It's got how to get to base camp, selecting pathways, accessing projects, navigating them. You all are pros at that. How to print my project, how to complete a project or complete a level. All of that very important. I'm going to skip to this sheet. I made this cheat sheet, and this says exactly what you're supposed to do. So while you're getting familiar with Pathways, this is what you're supposed to do. It's a checklist. So the icebreaker speech, well, here I wrote a little overview. It's deliver a 4 to 6 minute speech on any topic. That's it. That's all you're really supposed to do, right? That's it. There's a lot of slides in there, a lot of stuff explaining for a lot of people coming from a lot of different backgrounds, but it all boils down to this right here. That's the project. All right, here's another project, the evaluation and feedback. What the heck am I supposed to do? You're supposed to give a 5 to 7 minute speech, and then you're supposed to give another one on any topic. And it needs, the only requirement for this speech is it has to show that you can incorporate feedback. Are you capable of learning? And I know you are, but you gotta prove it. And this is when you prove it. And you know, this is one of those things that the old program didn't have. It didn't directly address saying, hey, can you incorporate feedback? Or are you just going through the book, not learning a damn thing, just doing projects one after another? This one says, no, hold on. Before we get deep into this path, can you learn? And I know you can, but you need to make a specific effort. So 5 to 7, then another 5 to 7 minutes showing you can learn, and then be an evaluator. So this is one of the more complicated ones. The evaluation and feedback project has 3 things you have to do: speech, evaluation. Complicated, I know, but it's all written out here. Share it with everybody, print it out, use the checklist. The checklist has a lot of boxes, but they're all very, very basic, I think. We're talking about schedule it, write it and practice it, bring the evaluation sheets to the meeting or email them to your evaluator, give the speech, look back over the evaluation. And this last step, send the evaluation to the VPE, and I will cover that in just a bit. One key thing about this evaluation and feedback, be an evaluator activity. When you're an evaluator, the evaluation you give needs to be evaluated. And I know that's inception for evaluations, and it sounds complicated. It's not that complicated. When you go to print my project, there will be 3 evaluation forms. The first one is for the first speech, the second one is for the second speech, and the third one is for someone to evaluate your evaluation. And it's just written, it's not an oral evaluation, just FYI. So you ask someone, hey, how am I doing as an evaluator? And you know what? I don't remember doing a whole lot of that in the old program. Having somebody judge me as an evaluator pretty early on, I think, is a good skill. The last part of level 1, researching and presenting, it's just give a well-organized and well-researched 5 to 7 minute speech. We just went through all of level 1. All of a sudden, it doesn't seem quite as complicated. Okay, level 2. Remember when I said level 2 is kind of the same for a lot of them? Well, this is it. Here's all the projects. Here's all the paths. You find your path, the 3 projects that are yours, that's it. So you know which projects. And I have, again, written out exactly what that thing is. What am I supposed to do? Well, if you have the Discover Your Leadership Style project, all you have to do is give a 5 to 7 minute speech about how you are a leader, about how you lead. That's it. That's the whole thing. Sound familiar? All of these are either a 4 to 6 minute speech or a 5 to 7 minute speech, and be an evaluator. Give a 5 to 7 minute on being well researched. Give a 5 to 7 minute on being a leader. All of a sudden, Pathways is kind of looking like the old program, just kind of bulked up. Kind of a lot more to it. But all of these, active listening is be the table topics master, or communication styles, a 5 to 7 minute on how you communicate. And they have a questionnaire on both the communication and the leadership to say, here's how you communicate, or here's how you lead. But connect with your audience, managing time. They're all 5 to 7 minute speeches. Pathways isn't that complicated. There's almost too many options, and it can be a little scary. So exactly what are you supposed to do is this right here. The checklist, this will get you through level 1 and 2, and by then, I sure think that you will be knowledgeable enough, familiar enough with Pathways to give it a go. If you are not, you've got my contact info. One last thing I wanted to address here, and that is this last one, which is send the evaluation to VPE. I put that there. In my club, I collect people's evaluations. Now, I don't collect everybody's. I collect the people who aren't comfortable enough collecting it themselves, if that makes sense. So I have records for everybody in my club who's interested in that. But here is another strength of Pathways. And it is, you can save your evaluation to Pathways. So you can take that digital document and you can upload it, and Pathways will hold on to it forever and you'll never lose it. Your book, your little frayed book that's falling apart, is all of a sudden it's digitized and it's there forever. So let's talk about that. You're at Basecamp. How do you save your projects to Basecamp? Right here, My Documents. Click on the level you want to save this to. Hit Add File. Drag and drop. Drag and drop right in there. Or select a file and it'll bring up this. And here's some pictures of something I'm selling on Craigslist, but that's not important. I guess that's the last thing I've uploaded to the internet. Nonetheless, you can add it here. You hit save, you hit add, and then it is there forever. There forever. You can go back and look at evaluations for the next millennia. I'm assuming Pathways will last that long and they won't replace it. But that is how you can save it yourself. If you don't feel comfortable with that, I would really suggest VPEs out there. Please, please start tracking people's stuff. It's not hard to make a little filing system on your computer and ask people to email them to you. But that is what I do. That is all the content I have. That is all the hard stuff. Any questions? Questions, comments, concerns?
It's very helpful.
I'm
Make
glad.
it look easy.
It's not too bad, right?
I think there's hope.
I think there's so that's all I'm asking for. I'm asking for that, and I'm asking you to remember one thing. And what was that?
Print my project.
Yes. I love it. I love it. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Whew. Not too painful.
Do you have cheat sheets for the other levels, or have you not gotten there
well,
yet?
that's the thing is, level 3. It was easy enough to make one for level 1 because they're all the same for everybody. It was somewhat easy to make it for level 2 because there's only like 7 different projects in level 2 between all 11 paths. They all share a couple of the 7 projects. But after that, level 3, it goes bananas. It is much more unique to each path that making a check sheet is difficult. But what I would recommend is this this Pathways tracking PDF that I sent out.
Mm-hmm.
Once you complete level 1 and level 2, you don't need the little check boxes that say write your speech and practice it, right? By then you kind of know. But you have nice little check boxes essentially saying, okay, I got to do focus, I got to do one required project, and that is persuasive speaking. You know, write a date in there, or write a speech title or an idea or whatever. Use this sheet as your checkbox. You don't. By then, I don't think you'll need all the little ones. By then, I just think you'll need the big ones. And look ahead. You know, what's great about this is in our club, I'm the VP, and I'm not too picky with members moving ahead and doing future paths. They might be only on level 2 or level 3. And don't tell anyone, but I'm okay with them doing projects from 4 or 5. But what is nice is they're looking at this and they're saying, you know, I've got some big presentation coming up, and that would go really great with Manage Online Meetings. And so they can see all their options ahead of them on one single page, and that's this page. And so it's really nice to be able to see that and use it early. So.
David?
Yes.
It might make you feel a little better to know that our district director, Carolyn Curley, probably would be okay with what you just said, because she's kind of informally mentored me on that same thing, saying, look ahead, because now that we're not initially we were locked out of levels until we finished the preceding level, but now we're not. We can access any level. And she encouraged me to look ahead, just like David said, look ahead and see what projects there are that would fit your goals, what you're doing, your Toastmaster role or your role outside of Toastmasters. So,
Yes. Okay,
David
good.
gets it.
Good. That makes me feel a little better.
You're okay.
Because, and for those of you who may not have played with Pathways much right when it came out, they used to not let us click on levels we weren't on yet. And I gotta say, that was super frustrating. Like you just wanted to play around. You're trying to play around with that system, see what you have to look forward to. And they locked you in hard to level 1, and that wasn't great. But they have changed that. You can click on all the levels. From day 1, you can click on all the levels of your path. And I want to say that they are listening. They're listening. Not as like a creepy big brother thing, although that might be true. They are listening to our feedback, and they are improving the program. They are improving the user interface. It is a big, complex program, so it does not happen quickly, but they are working on it. So keep the feedback coming, and just know that things have improved, and that's something you can't do in a book. That might be the millennial in me talking, but the digital part has some advantages. Yeah. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Woo. Sleep on it. You might have a little headache now or something. That's okay. Sleep on it. If you have any questions, hit me up. You've all got my email. I'd be happy to hop online and walk you through anything. So,
Thank you.
yeah. With that, don't go turn on the TV. Just go straight to bed.
Be surprised in the morning.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, David. Appreciate it.
Of course. Oh, thank you. Yes. Yes.
Yay.
Oh, I'm honored that I'm asked to do this kind of thing. So glad to help. I hope I spread some of this. People learn a little more. It's good.
Thank you.
Yep, you bet.
Appreciate it.
You bet, Bill.
Thank you. See you soon.
See you next
Good night,
time.
everybody.